Touch her, and you'll answer to me!
Touch her and you'll answer to me, the rancher roared, as the town dragged the widow through the dust. The rock hit her shoulder before she heard them laugh. Stella Keller didn't turn. She just bent, slow and careful, gathering the firewood she dropped into the frozen mud. The cold had already bitten her fingers raw, but she wasn't about to give them the satisfaction of seeing her flinch. "Storm's comin', widow," Thomas Garrett called, his voice sharp with that mean kind of youth that had never known hunger. "Hope that shack of yours can stand a blizzard." A second rock flew. This one caught her hip. The boys roared. Stella straightened, her breath shaking in the bitter wind. The bundle in her arms looked small, too small to warm the nights ahead. But she lifted it anyway and kept walking. Behind her, their laughter faded into the snow. Ahead, the sky was turning the color of iron. The storm, and everything else, was coming for her. By the edge of town, her palms were bleeding from splinters. There he was, Robert Keller, her late husband's brother, arms crossed, hat low against the wind. "Stella," he said, voice sharp as a blade. "Sheriff's callin' a meetin'. Shelter assignments for the storm." She nodded. "But maybe someone'll take you in. You've hung on long enough, livin' off pity, draggin' Daniel's name through the dust. I never asked you for help." "That's," he snapped. "That's all you left. You should thank me for not tossin' you out sooner." He climbed into his wagon. "Storm's a blessing. Maybe it'll wipe you clean off the map." He rode off. Stella stood alone, firewood pressed to her chest. Her hands shook. The weight of it all, Robert's words, the town's eyes, the storm, was almost too much. Tears stung her cheeks. Why am I made this way? Why can't I be like everyone else? Slowly she lifted her chin. "Let them laugh," she whispered, wiping her cheeks. "The storm's not the only thing coming." She kept walking, past shuttered windows, past the church bell swinging wild in the wind, toward the sheriff's office, where the town had gathered to decide who was worth saving. By noon, the sky had gone dark. The sheriff's bell called everyone to the square, and the whole town gathered, faces red from cold, breath fogging in the air. Stella stood at the edge of the crowd, trying to keep to the shadows. But whispers found her anyway. "There she is. Robert Keller says she's been begging again. Who'd take her in? She'd eat a ranch clean through before spring." The sheriff stepped onto the platform, slapping the frost from his hat. 3 days, he shouted. "That's all we got before this blizzard hits. Biggest one in 20 years. Shelter's short, so the ranchers'll take in those without homes. Each man takes one woman. Fair and proper." The murmur swelled, hope from some, fear from others. Unmarried women, widows, spinsters, stepped forward. A few shuffled ahead. Then more. 15 in all. Stella moved last, heart hammering as she joined the line. The comments started immediately. Why's she even here? Cole Brennan sure won't take her. He won't take anyone. He never does. Cole Brennan, the sheriff called. The crowd shifted as he stepped forward, tall, broad-shouldered, coat flaring in the wind. Cole Brennan, wealthiest rancher in 3 counties, a man who kept to his land and his silence. The sheriff gestured toward the waiting women. "You've got first pick, Brennan. Then we'll move down the list." Cole's gray eyes moved over them, quick, detached. He stopped at the preacher's niece, then the blacksmith's daughter, then at Stella for half a heartbeat before looking away. Finally he said, "I've got ranch hands to fill my spare rooms. That's shelter enough given." A ripple of surprise swept through the square. The sheriff frowned. "Now, Cole, the order says every rancher takes one woman. I said my share's covered." He turned, ready to walk away. That's when Thomas Garrett's voice sliced through the cold. "For God's sake, Brennan, don't waste time on the fat widow." Laughter cracked through the crowd. Thomas strutted up to the line, grinning like he owned the place. "Move aside, Widow Keller," he sneered, grabbing Stella's arm. "Let the man see something worth looking at." "Don't," she whispered. He shoved her. Hard. Her boots slipped on the ice, her bundle scattering again, her body twisting toward the ground. And a hand caught her wrist. Strong. Steady. Cole Brennan pulled her upright with one easy motion and stepped between her and Thomas. The crowd went still. Cole's voice dropped, low and level. "Touch her again," he said, "and you'll answer to me." Thomas froze. His smirk vanished. He muttered something and backed off into the crowd. Cole didn't move until the boy was gone. Then he turned to the sheriff. "Her," he said. The sheriff blinked. "Her." Cole nodded once. "I'll take her." The crowd erupted. "You're jokin'. She'll ruin him. Of all the women." Cole ignored them. He looked at Stella. "Can you ride, ma'am?" She hesitated, then nodded. "Good. Storm's coming." He offered his arm. Not pity, respect. For 6 months, no one had touched her except in cruelty. Now this man looked at her as if she were worth saving. Her fingers trembled as she placed her hand on his arm. They walked through the murmuring crowd together. At his horse, he mounted first, then reached down. "I've got you," he said softly. And he did. He lifted her as though she weighed nothing. She settled behind him, arms around his waist, the world falling away beneath the thud of hooves. Behind them, voices still jeered. But ahead, the road stretched white and wide, leading toward something she hadn't dared to believe in for months. Safety. Warmth. Maybe even mercy. The storm would find them soon. But for the first time since Daniel's death, Stella Keller felt the faint, impossible ember of hope. The ride to Cole's ranch took over an hour. Silence stretched between them. Only the wind. Only the steady rhythm of hooves on frozen ground. Stella sat behind Cole, arms wrapped around his waist, and felt the cold seeping through her thin dress despite his warmth. She wanted to ask why. "Why did you choose me?" But fear kept her silent. The wind grew stronger as they rode. Temperature dropping. The storm was coming faster than anyone expected. Stella's hands went numb where they gripped Cole's coat. He must have felt her shivering because he spoke for the first time since leaving town. "Not much farther." His voice was low, steady. Stella nodded against his back, though he could not see it. When the ranch finally appeared over a ridge, Stella's breath caught. The house was massive. 2 stories of solid timber. A wide porch. Smoke rising from chimneys. This was not just wealth. This was power. And she was about to enter it. Cole dismounted first. Reached up to help her down. His hands were strong. "Careful." He set her on the ground gently. "Come on," he said. "Let us get you warm." Inside, the house was everything the outside promised. Warm. Well kept. A fire crackled in a stone hearth. Furniture filled the space with comfortable simplicity. An older Chinese woman appeared from a doorway. "Mrs. Chen," Cole said. "This is Stella. She will be staying through the storm. Please prepare the guest room." Mrs. Chen's sharp eyes swept over Stella. Not judging. Just seeing. "I will prepare it now," she said. Then disappeared upstairs. Cole turned to Stella. "Your room is upstairs. First door on the left. Storm hits tomorrow. Rest tonight." He did not explain why he chose her. Did not offer comfort or reassurance. Just instructions. Then he walked toward the back of the house, leaving her alone. Stella stood in the warmth of his home and felt more lost than ever. That evening, dinner was awkward. Mrs. Chen served stew and bread. Simple but good. Cole sat across from Stella, eating in silence. Finally he spoke. "Can you cook?" Stella looked up, startled. "Yes." 10 wounds? Handle livestock if needed? "Yes. I grew up on a farm." Cole nodded. "Good. Storm could last a week. We will need to work together." That was all. No warmth. No explanation. Just practical questions. After dinner, Cole excused himself. "I need to secure the barn. Storm will hit hard tomorrow." He disappeared outside. Stella helped Mrs. Chen clean dishes in silence. When she finished, she stepped onto the back porch for air. That was when she heard them. Voices from the bunkhouse. Ranch hands talking. "Boss is crazy," one said, "taking her instead of the pretty ones. She will be useless," another laughed. "Just another mouth to feed. Give it 3 days. He will regret this." Their laughter carried on the wind. Stella's chest tightened. They were right. She was useless. A burden. Cole had made a mistake choosing her. But she would not prove them right. She would work harder than any of those pretty women could have. She would earn her keep. She would prove she deserved the shelter. Even if Cole regretted his choice, she would not give them the satisfaction of seeing her fail. That night, the storm arrived. Stella lay in the guest room, listening to wind howl around the house. Snow began to fall. She could hear it against the windows. Soft at first. Then harder. She thought about the town. About Robert's words. Disappear. She thought about Thomas grabbing her. Shoving her. She thought about Cole's voice. "Touch her again and you will answer to me." Why had he done that? Pity? Obligation? She would probably never know. But she could prove she was not worthless. Starting tomorrow. Stella closed her eyes and prayed. "Please, do not let me disappoint him. Do not let me prove the town right." Outside, the storm grew. Wind screaming. Snow piling. And Stella fell asleep to the sound of her own determination. The storm hit with full force on the second day. Stella woke to wind that sounded like a living thing. Shrieking. Battering the house. She went to the window. Could see nothing but white. Snow fell so thick it erased the world. She dressed quickly and went downstairs. Cole was already pulling on heavy gloves and a thick coat. "Animals need to be checked," he said without looking at her. "Storm is worse than expected. I can help." He looked up, surprised. "It is dangerous out there. I know how to handle livestock. I will not be a burden." Cole studied her for a moment, then nodded. "Stay close to me. If I say go back, you go. Understood?" "Yes." He handed her a spare coat. Together, they stepped into the blizzard. The cold was brutal. Wind tore at them with vicious strength. Snow stung like tiny knives. Cole grabbed her hand. "Do not let go." Stella held tight. They fought their way to the barn. Every step a battle. Inside, the world quieted slightly. Animals shifted nervously. "Check water," Cole shouted over the wind still howling outside. "Break any ice forming." Stella worked quickly, efficiently. Cole watched her. She knew what she was doing. They worked together for an hour. Feeding. Watering. Securing. Then Cole climbed a ladder to check stored feed in the loft. The ladder shifted under his weight. Old wood. Weakened. It gave way with a sharp crack. Cole fell. Stella did not think. Just moved. She positioned herself beneath him. Braced. He crashed into her. They both went down hard into hay. For a moment, neither moved. Then Cole pushed himself up, breathing hard. "Are you hurt?" "No." Stella's shoulder ached. "But nothing broken. You should not have done that." "I could have." "You would have broken your back on that floor." They stared at each other. Then Cole stood, offered his hand, pulled her up gently. "Let us get back inside." The journey back was even harder. The storm had worsened. Halfway there, Cole turned. Stella was not behind him. She had fallen. Exhausted. Cold, finally winning. Cole went back. Lifted her into his arms without a word. "I can walk," she protested weakly. "Not in this." He carried her the rest of the way. Inside, Mrs. Chen took charge. "Hot water. Blankets. Both of you by the fire." But that was not the end. That evening, Cole went out again to check animals. When he returned, his face was gray. His lips blue. His hands were numb. Frozen. He stumbled through the door and collapsed by the fire. Stella's fear transformed into action. She stripped his wet coat. Wrapped him in blankets. made hot broth. His hands were the worst. Fingers white. Frostbite threatening. She rubbed warmth back into them. Gently. Carefully. You will lose your fingers if we are not careful, she said quietly. Cole watched her work. Said nothing. She stayed up all night, keeping the fire burning, watching him, making sure he stayed warm. When dawn came, Cole woke. He saw her by the fireplace. Exhausted. Still tending flames. You should have slept. Fire cannot tend itself. Cole stared at her. Something in his expression shifted. You saved my life. In the barn. And again here. Anyone would have. No. His voice was firm. Not anyone. You did. The storm worsened over the next 2 days. They were trapped inside completely. Supplies ran low. Cole had not prepared for a storm this severe. But Stella stretched everything. Made stews last. Baked bread from scraps. Nothing wasted. Cole watched her work. Efficient. Capable. Where did you learn to cook like this? He asked one evening. When you have little, you learn to make it last. Silence stretched. Then Cole spoke quietly. Your husband was a fool. Stella looked up, surprised. Why? He did not see what he had. Stella's throat tightened. She paused. Then the words came. Daniel's family took everything when he died. Said I owed them. Said I was a burden. They took the house. The money. Left me with nothing. That is not right. Right does not matter when you are powerless. Her voice broke slightly. The town mocked me. Robert wanted me gone. I thought I would die this winter. Then you. She could not finish. Cole leaned forward. His voice was low. Certain. I did not choose you out of pity. Then why? Because when you fell in that dirt, you did not cry. You did not beg. You just stood back up. He paused. That is strength. Real strength. Stella's eyes filled with tears. You saw me, she whispered. I did. When no one else would. Something passed between them. Unspoken but real. Cole realized she was exactly what he needed. What he did not know he was looking for. Stella realized he saw her when everyone else looked away. On the 7th day, the storm finally broke. Stella woke to an eerie silence. No wind tearing at the eaves. No snow battering the windows. Just stillness. She moved to the window and sunlight blinded her. The world outside was coated in white, snow stretching as far as the eye could see. The storm was over. Cole and she had survived. Together. The week had been harsh. Shared meals, shared stories, shared long stretches of silence by the fire. Somehow, in that quiet, something had shifted between them, not named, but undeniable. A trust, a recognition, a warmth that neither had spoken aloud but both felt. That morning, they worked side by side, digging paths through the snow to the barn. Each shovelful made Stella feel lighter. Stronger. She had proven herself, to Cole, to the ranch hands, and to herself. By afternoon, however, shadows appeared on the horizon. Riders, struggling through deep snow. 4 men on horseback. The sheriff, Thomas Garrett, and 2 others. Stella's stomach dropped. Cole's jaw tightened. Stay inside, he warned. No, her voice was firm. If this is about me, I face it. He studied her, silent, then gave a slight nod. They waited on the porch together. The riders approached, dismounted, snow crunching under boots. The sheriff spoke first. Brennan. We came to check on the situation. Cole's voice was steady. Situation's fine. We survived. Good, the sheriff said flatly. Then the widow can return to town. Stella felt the ground shift beneath her. No, Cole said sharply. The storm is over, Cole. The arrangement was shelter during the blizzard. Blizzard is done. She comes back. She is staying, Cole said, voice unwavering. The sheriff's eyes narrowed. You cannot keep her here like property. I am not keeping her. She stays because she chooses to. Thomas stepped forward, sneering. Of course she wants to stay. She is warm, fed, safe. Why would she leave? She can speak for herself, Cole said coldly. Every eye turned to Stella. Her heart pounded like a drum in her chest. Thomas laughed, sharp and cruel. Go on, widow. Tell him you want to go home. Back where you belong. Her throat tightened. Go back? To what? To mockery, to freezing, to being nobody? Or stay? With a man who had seen her, protected her, treated her like she mattered. I want to stay, she said, voice quiet but steady. Thomas spat. See? She's using you, Brennan. The leech. She'll bleed you dry. Cole's voice dropped, deadly calm. Careful, Garrett. It is true. She is worthless. A burden. She. Enough. Cole descended the porch steps slowly, deliberately. Every movement radiated authority. You came onto my land. You insulted my guest. Now you will leave, he said. The sheriff raised a hand. Cole, be reasonable. The town has concerns. People are saying she bewitched you, that she is. Let them say it, Cole cut him off. Iron in his tone. She stays. Anyone who has a problem can take it up with me. The sheriff studied him and saw the immovable resolve. Your choice, Cole. Thomas glared at Stella. You will regret this. Both of you. They mounted, ready to leave. But the sheriff turned once more. Storm is over, Brennan. She has no reason to stay. Send her back. Get yourself a real woman. Stella felt shame rise like bile. She started to turn, to gather her few things. There, right, Cole. You did your duty. I will go. Cole's hand caught her wrist, gentle but firm. No. He stepped closer, voice rising, carrying across the snow-blanketed yard. You want her to go back to what? Starving? Freezing in that shack? The sheriff opened his mouth. She can find work. Doing what? Cole thundered. You've all already decided she is worthless. No one will hire her. No one will help her. His anger was palpable now. Raw, protective. This woman kept me alive for 7 days. She cooked. She healed. She worked without complaint. She saved my life twice. Every word carried weight. Conviction. She is worth 10 of your pretty women who would have cried the whole time. Silence fell. Only the snow whispered around them. Stella stepped forward. 6 months she had been silent, invisible, accepting abuse, pretending not to exist. Not anymore. I am not going back. Her voice was quiet, but steady, rising with courage. The town stared. She lifted her chin, taller than she had in months. I am not going back to a town that threw me away like garbage. Cole gave me shelter. I gave him my work. That is a fair trade. She looked at him, then at the men. And if he will have me, I will stay. The words hung in the crisp air, unyielding. Thomas's face twisted with fury, but he could not speak. The sheriff shook his head. On your head, Brennan, he muttered. They rode away. Cole and Stella stood together, watching until the last hoofbeat vanished. Then Cole turned to her. Are you sure? Stella met his eyes, unwavering. I am sure. Good. Something softened in his expression. Welcome home, Stella. The word broke something inside her. The emptiness, the loneliness, the years of being nowhere, everything melted and left warmth in its place. She had a home at last. 3 days later, the town returned. This time, it was not just the sheriff. It was half the town. Women. Children. They rode up to Cole's ranch in a procession. Cole and Stella stood on the porch, watching them approach. What do they want? Stella whispered. I do not know. But we face it together. The crowd gathered in the yard. The sheriff dismounted. Brennan, we need to talk. Talk then. The town has concerns. About this arrangement. A man and an unmarried woman living together. It is not proper. Then what do you suggest? Cole's voice was cold. The sheriff hesitated. Send her back. Or marry her. Make it legal. Laughter rippled through the crowd. Mocking. Marry her, someone called out. You cannot be serious. Brennan, you could have any woman. Do not tie yourself to that. Stella's face burned. Cole's hand found hers. Squeezed gently. Then he stepped forward. His voice rang out across the yard. You are right. Stella's heart stopped. He was going to send her away. A man and an unmarried woman should not live together. The crowd murmured agreement. Cole turned, looked directly at Stella. His gray eyes held hers. So I will not ask her to be my guest. Or my help. He stepped closer. I will ask her to be my wife. Gasps exploded through the crowd. What? You cannot be serious. Cole. But Cole ignored them all. He took Stella's hand. Stella, these past weeks with you have been different. Good different. You make this place feel like more than just a ranch. You make it feel like a home. His voice was rough, uncertain, like a man unused to speaking feelings aloud. I am asking you to marry me, not because the town demands it, but because I want you here, because I choose you. Tears filled Stella's eyes. You do not have to do this out of obligation. I am not. Cole's voice was firm. I am doing this because I choose you, the same way I chose you in that town square. Not because I had to, because I wanted to. The crowd erupted. You cannot marry her. She will ruin you. Cole, think about what you are doing. Cole's jaw tightened. He turned to face them. His voice cut through the noise like a blade. Watch me. 2 words. Defiant. Final. He looked back at Stella. So what do you say? Will you marry me? Stella could barely see through tears. But these were not tears of shame. These were tears of joy. Yes, she whispered. Yes, I will marry you. Cole smiled. Really smiled. Unguarded and real. He pulled her close. Kissed her in front of the entire town. When they broke apart, the crowd was in chaos. Some people left in disgust, mounting horses and riding away without looking back. But others stayed. An older woman stepped forward. Weathered. A rancher's wife. Brennan chose well, she said loudly. That is a strong woman. Stronger than most of us. A few others nodded, agreeing. Not everyone. Some would always mock. But enough. Enough people saw the truth. The sheriff shook his head. But there was something like respect in his eyes. On your head, Cole. Gladly, Cole replied. They married a week later. Simple ceremony. Just them, Mrs. Chin, and a few ranch hands. No town blessing. No society approval. Just 2 people choosing each other. Spring came slowly. Snow melted. Green returned to the land. And Stella bloomed. She managed the ranch household with quiet efficiency. Kept accounts. Trained horses. Cooked meals that even Mrs. Chin praised. But more than that, she laughed. Her laughter filled the house. Made it feel alive. Cole's ranch prospered. Not despite Stella. Because of her. She was smart with money. Skilled with animals. Beloved by the ranch hands who had once doubted her. Eventually, even the town's mockery turned to grudging respect. Not from everyone. But from enough. 6 months after the wedding, Stella stood on the porch with Cole, watching the sunset. He put his arm around her. They said I was a fool for choosing you. Stella smiled. Were you? Best decision I ever made. He pulled her closer. They dragged you through the dust. But you were a diamond all along. I just saw it first. Stella leaned into him. For so long she had believed herself worthless. But Cole had seen her worth. Had chosen her. Had loved her. And in doing so, had helped her see it too. They tried to bury me, she said softly. Cole finished the thought. But they did not know, You cannot bury a woman who refuses to stay down. Stella smiled. She had survived. More than survived. She had thrived. And as the sun set over the ranch, painting the sky in gold and rose, Stella Keller Brennan stood in the arms of the man who loved her. And finally, truly, she was home.